it. Ten-pin bowling. Apparently, it's the world's second most popular sport, after football. More than 100 million of us do it every year. In the US, it's a $10 billion industry. And to keep that industry going, we need to be able to play at least 10 games an hour, and that means resetting the pins in just 8.5 seconds. So what does it take to keep the world bowling? How do they do it? Bowling hasn't always been played at such breakneck speed. The Sheephead pub in Edinburgh built its 10-pin bowling alley in 1871, and the game has been played the same way here ever since. This version is much closer to the centuries-old match of skittles. The balls don't have holes for your fingers, but otherwise the equipment looks pretty much the same as 10-pin bowling today. But the pace is very different, because there's a person, not a machine, respotting the pins at the other end. But hey, these guys are in no hurry.
You end up with a very strong right arm from lifting the beer and lifting the ball, yes.
So how do you create an alley which can reset its own pins in a matter of seconds? To find out, we've come to the AMF Kubica factory in Virginia, USA, where they make the machines known as pin spotters. They've been making them since 1945, and demand is huge from all around the world. 11 are made by hand here every day from 4,000 individual component parts. The pin spotter's job is to ensure that the knocked over pins are removed and a new set of pins is ready for the next throw in 8.5 seconds. These pin spotters live in a parallel universe, hidden from public view at the back of the alleys. But how do they work? Every pin that's knocked down is swept off to a carousel at the back and positioned the right way up. Next, they're fed onto a plastic tray, but they need to be distributed into their proper positions. These pins are then respotted. Only one of the 10 pins can fit into one of the holes. But how does the arm know where to put each pin? The answer is with the irregular-shaped rail on this white plastic wheel. There are 10 notches on the wheel which direct the pin distribution arm. As the wheel revolves, the mechanism repositions the arm so that each of the 10 pins ends up in its correct space. The engineers know that the spotter should be able to reset at least 6,000 pins before it needs any maintenance. But when it does jam, it needs a human called a pin chaser to sort it out. The machines are generally so reliable, though, that he can look after 24 lanes at the same time. So now you know what happens with the pins. What about the ball? It too disappears into an unseen world where it finds its way to a hole down the side and is then propelled under the lane back to the bowling area. A bowling ball can weigh up to 16 pounds and is usually made of plastic. These sample balls are stringently tested in the factory. A ball will typically play a punishing 50 games a day and should last at least 5 years. The test ball will pass through this loop-the-loop machine 4 million times.
This machine runs 24/7. It's non-stop. The only thing that really stops this machine here is a power failure.
This is literally a job for a ball breaker.
My job is to break things. And that's basically what I do. I put it to the test and see what does it take to break it and what does it take to make this part fail.
So next time you're out at the bowling alley, spare a thought for the pin spotter and the pin chasers working feverishly behind the scenes.